Hey everybody, welcome to All Aboard Stock Charts. I'm your host, Chip Anderson. I'm the president of StockCharts.com, and I want to give you a special welcome to our website. This is a show for people who are new to stock charts, and I want to give you a quick kind of tour of the site. Make sure you get off on the right foot. It's the key things that new Stock Charts members need to know. And again, I'm really glad that you're joining us to learn all about the website. My goal today, help you become instantly productive with StockCharts.com. There's a lot on the website. We hear that all the time from our users, and I want to show you the key things that you really want to focus on, especially when you're new to the site. So before we get going, I've got a couple of frequently asked questions that people want to know at the start of this show. So first off, yes, we are recording this. It'll be up and available on our YouTube channel soon after the show ends. In addition, of course, you've got the slider at the bottom of the StockCharts TV window. You can always scrub back and see anything. If you want to immediately go back and see something that I said, maybe you want to watch it again, you can do that instantly. Second off, this is a live show. I'm here right now live, and I want to talk with you. I want to answer any specific questions that you have. So we have a chat box that's open right next to the video player on the StockCharts TV site. If you have any questions whatsoever, please enter those questions into the chat box. That way I can answer them. My friend Rachel is monitoring the chat box. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning. Happy Saturday, everybody.
So I'd love for you right now just to say hi to Rachel. She'd love to hear from you. Let her know how you're doing. But also, if you have any questions, don't hesitate. This show is not for detailed technical information. So if you want to really dive deep into something, unfortunately, this is not the show for you. I've got a lot to cover. This is just basic information at this point. I do another show right after this one called Deep Dive. That's the show where you can see and get into really technical discussions on all the different features at Stock Charts. And then finally, the slides that you're seeing on your screen right now, I've got a downloadable version of them for you available up on our website. There's the URL right now. You can go to that address right now, download this PDF file, and you'll see the slides that I'm presenting. Or you can just follow along, either way. So those are out of the way. Now let's talk about stock charts. So the website that I founded, almost 21 years ago, StockCharts.com, our purpose is to help online investors make better investing decisions through the visualization of financial data. So ultimately, we're computer programmers, and we really like to provide data in a way that is valuable to people that are looking at it, that makes their lives better. And so by providing online financial information to investors, we think that really meets the purpose that we want to do as programmers. So that's our purpose. Anything that kind of furthers this goal is something we're interested in doing. And over the years, we've done a lot of things in this area, and in the upcoming future years, we'll do more. Ultimately, we're trying to combine great tools and technical data that we work really hard to provide here at Stock Charts with great education in areas like our chart school online or in areas like Stock Charts TV, which you're watching right now. Along with the final piece is great commentary. So a lot of the other shows that you'll see on Stock Charts TV, a lot of the blogs that you'll find in our articles area, they're all trying to help you see how to use our site to do actual technical analysis, see what the tools are telling the experts right now, and that's a way to make you a better technical analyst and understand how to use the tools. So it's a combination of those three things that we really focus on. Now, when you start out at Stock Charts, you can do it you've got a 1-month free trial to start with. And hopefully many of the people watching today are actually in the middle of their 1-month free trial. So I want to make sure you get the most out of that 1-month free trial. So a couple of things, a couple of tips to make sure you're aware of. First off, at the end of the free trial, we're going to charge your credit card automatically. So you want to make absolutely sure that you want to continue with us. Hopefully you will, but you want to make sure that you want to continue with us by the end of your free month. If you don't, for whatever reason, that's fine. You want to make sure you cancel your free trial beforehand, however. And so you can cancel it on the Your Account page. I'm going to show you that in just a little bit. There's a big button there that lets you cancel it. Yeah, here we go. So it says cancel your account. It's right there under the Your Account page. Now, when you join Stock Charts, you are automatically put into, as part of the free trial, you're automatically put into a service level called Extra and our free data plan. but I want to show you the other options that are available to you as a StockCharts member. You can do more than just what Extra provides, or you can do less. It's up to you. We have 3 service levels, and then you can combine that with several different data plans. So first, let's talk about the service levels. This is what we provide here at StockCharts to you. It's the ability to create the charts, save the charts, organize the charts, run scans, get alerts, all the kind of things that we provide. And so our starting service level is called Basic. It's provided at $14.95 per month if you go month to month. It can be less if you prepay. It gives you the ability to save one list of charts called a chart list. That list can have up to 500 charts inside of it, so it's a pretty big list. You can't do any custom scanning at the basic level, but you will get all of our commentary, including our paid commentary from John Murphy, Martin Pring, several other people. So basic is a good starting point, but most people use our extra service, and that's the service that we'll give you initially when you sign up for your free trial. Extra on a regular basis will be $24.95 a month. Again, that's when you're going month to month, and if you go longer, the rate becomes less. In Extra, you get 250 chart lists. And remember, each list can hold 500 charts. So that's an awful lot of charts. The reason you want to have more than one chart list is so that you can categorize your stocks. Maybe one of your chart lists is your portfolio, another list is your stocks that you're watching, maybe another list is stocks that you've sold in the past, so on and so forth. So think of chart lists as kind of a way to categorize your charts. Having lots of chart lists can be helpful. In addition to chart lists, as an Extra member, you get access to our custom scans. So you have the ability to specify and run scans that will say, find StockCharts, find me all the charts where this particular moving average is going above this other moving average, or some other kind of technical condition. We've done many shows, I'll do more shows in the future too, that get into the details of scanning. But scanning is very, very, very helpful in helping you kind of, instead of looking at 80,000 charts, which is how many we provide more or less, it can narrow it down to just the 20 or 10 or 20 charts that you're interested in that actually meet your criteria. So scanning is wonderful. And then finally, in addition, Extra provides alerts. You have up to 10 technical alerts. Alerts are things that we run all the time, and we will notify you if a particular technical condition occurs for a particular stock. So alerts are great for so let's say you own a stock already, and you want to know, hey, has this stock moved below a particular price level? If so, I might want to sell it. That's what alerts are great for. They'll send you an email, they'll send you a text message, whatever you want to do. And then finally, we have our Pro level. It's $34.95 a month. It'll let you do more of everything I just talked about, basically. There's not a specific feature that Pro gives you that's better than any of the other ones. It's just that you can do more stuff with the Pro level. Your charts can be bigger, up to 2,500 pixels wide. You get 350 chart lists. You get 300 save scans, 100 technical alerts, which is much, much bigger than what Extra gives you. And you get 5-second auto refresh. We're going to go over auto refresh in just a little bit, but that's how often the charts will automatically update. So those are the 3 service level options that you have. Again, as a free trial member, you come in at the Extra level, but you can always go to the Your Account page and upgrade or downgrade to any of these 3 levels. And during your free trial, you can try any of them for free, and I encourage you to do so. The key, though, is at the end of the free trial, make sure before we charge your credit card that you are on the level you like, because that will be the level that we'll charge you for. Make sense? I hope it makes sense. All right, now the other thing is you have to pair your service level with a data plan. The data plan is essentially exchange fees, if you're familiar with that kind of concept, that you can pay if you want to the exchanges to get official real-time data. They're $9.95 per month each, and we have them for different countries. So if you want official real-time data for the US, it's an additional $9.95. There'd be a separate if you wanted it for Canada. We've also got the UK, and we've got India. So those are the options, but keep in mind and remember, we also have a free data plan. And honestly, the free data plan should do fine for a large number of you. A large number of our subscribers are totally fine with the free data plan. Because in the US, what happens is The free data plan generally will give you data up to 15 minutes ago, and then you won't get the final 15 minutes. It'll be 15-minute delayed data. However, in the US, we fill in that 15-minute gap with free real-time data from a special exchange called the BATS exchange. And the BATS data, basically we merge it into the chart and we show it the last 15 minutes, you'll see BATS data. And then after 15 minutes, we will replace the BATS data with the official data from the NYSE, NASDAQ, whatever. So let me show you what that looks like, okay? Because I think the free data plan will work for most people, but I want to show you what it looks like so you're clear. So this is a 1-minute chart of Intel, and it shows you on the left, it shows you what it would look like with the free data plan. Notice the final 15 bars are all highlighted in yellow, and there's a dashed yellow line right at the 15-minute period. This is showing you everything to the left of the yellow line is official NYSE data. Everything to the right of the yellow line is BATS data. Notice that the volume, there's no volume information for BATS data, and that's because the BATS volume isn't really relevant. It's very, very small compared to the regular volume. And so we don't show you volume-based indicators, and we don't show you the volume bars. But we do show you price bars, and for liquid stocks, for stocks that trade frequently, the volume bars look pretty good. You'll see over on the right, we have what it would look like if you had the official NYSE data. You'll see only the final bar is highlighted. It's highlighted in green. That's because it's still changing. The rest of these bars are official bars, and so they're there. You'll also see we have the volume data is fully across, and the volume indicator is fully across. So this is the official data. This is the free data. And you'll notice, again, because Intel is heavily traded, these bars aren't that different. There's a couple of little differences, but there's not any big differences. So let me show you one other thing, just in all honesty here. I want to make sure you're clear on everything. Here's a stock that's less frequently traded. And so you'll notice that in the case of the free data, we've got lots of gaps. We have lots of kind of dashes and gaps and other things. That's because those trades didn't register on the BATS exchange. Those trades did register on the official exchange, and so we see bars here. So that's the key thing you need to decide. Do I care about volume information for the final 15 minutes while the market's open? And do I want to make sure that even for thinly traded stocks, I see all of the bars? If that's the case, then the additional $9.95 per month will be valuable to you. If that's not the case, you're more of a day trader or a daily trader, you're looking at daily charts, that kind of thing, I don't think you need to do that. I think you can live quite fine with the free data plan. So anyway, hopefully that can help you make a decision on that. Now, let's get into actually using the account and using our site. This first thing I want to make sure you understand is how to log in. There's a button in the upper right corner of the screen. Your name should be there after you log in. And in order to log in successfully, your browser has to accept our cookies. If you see advertising on the site, especially by our charts, then that means you're not logged in. Something went wrong and you've been logged out. The next thing I wanted to mention is the first time you log in, you will have the option of going through what we call our setup wizard. And this helps you customize your account. It explains some things. It allows you to make some choices and enter your portfolio. It's really, really nice wizard. We're not actually going to get into that in this show. I want to show you kind of what it actually does behind the scenes, but the setup wizard can be really, really helpful. If you want to run it again, by the way, you can always go to stockcharts.com/setup and run it one more time. Now, after you log in, you will see this in just a second. After you log in, you'll get the members dashboard. And that's kind of your home page for the StockCharts, for your StockCharts account. It's going to give you the markets at a glance. It's going to show you all of the different scans and chart lists that you have saved. And it's very, very customizable. And so that's something else that I want to show you here in just a minute. There are these gear buttons that you can use to customize this dashboard and make it really look the way you want it to look. The final thing I want to tell you about before we get into our demo is the chart bar. There's a box at the top of every one of our pages, this really long, skinny box, and that's what you use to type in ticker symbols and quickly create charts on our site. If you have a ticker symbol, you just want to see a chart really quickly, you're going to type it into the chart bar. Again, at the very top of every one of our pages. As you type, it'll autocomplete, and it will usually take you to our SharpCharts charting tool. SharpCharts is our main charting tool. But there is a drop down you can use to get to other tools as well. So the chart bar is a great kind of quick way to get almost anywhere on our site. So let me switch over now and give you the demo. So I want to take you to the website. And what I want to show you is what the website looks like when you're not logged in first. So you'll see over here, I've got buttons that say log in and free trial. So that indicates I'm not actually logged in at this point. I'm going to click log in. I'm going to type in my name. I just created this account, this little test account, earlier this morning, and getting it ready for you guys. Now there's a remember me box down here. Generally you want to click this unless you're working on a shared computer. If you're working on a shared computer, you definitely do not want to click that. And then here we go. Here is the members dashboard that I was just telling you about. And you can see we've got markets at a glance. We've got a bunch of other things. I'm going to take you around it in just a minute. But I wanted to point out three things before we go. The chart bar that I was talking about is up here. So we can type a ticker symbol or the name of a company, and it will suggest things. You're probably pretty used to this at this point. And then if we just press enter, we would get a sharp chart. We can drop this down, however, and get any of our other kind of charts as well. Now that I'm logged in, you'll see my name is over here on the right. And finally, I've mentioned the Your Account page a couple of times. That's how you can cancel if you want to, or it's how you can change your service level, or it's how you can add data plans. The link to the Your Account page is right here under your name on the members dashboard. To get back to the members dashboard that I'm looking at, if you weren't there, if you're somewhere else on the site, you can always just click right here on members dashboard. Okay, so now quickly, let me take you through the dashboard. On the left, in the upper kind of left area of the dashboard, we have members tools. These are all the different tools on our website. The important thing to remember is that this particular box is scrollable. So you can scroll down to see more of the tools that we have. We have way too many tools, frankly, but we have lots of tools. And just remember, and I'm just using my mouse to kind of scroll up and down when my mouse is inside this box to see all the different tools that we have. Here's the market overview, a nice quick view of what happened and what is up, what is down. At this point, the market, of course, is closed, but you can look at equities, bonds, commodities. I guess the cryptocurrencies are still trading to a certain degree. So that's a way to switch between that, get a quick sense of what's going on in the market. And then over here on the right, as well as below, these are customizable boxes. It happens to have market movers in it right now, but we can change that. So I'm going to show you a quick trick. Nobody else knows about this. Not many people know about this. There's a gear icon right up here. See this gear icon beside alerts? It's this blue one. This is the gear icon that lets you set the settings for all of the dashboard. And I strongly recommend that you come in here and click on additional data panels. You might also want to click on, frankly, on all the panels and then hit Save Preferences. So this is going to expand out your market dashboard, so there's a lot more information on it. So I recommend clicking on this blue gear and checking all those things quickly. So that's the first point. Second point is, now that we've done that, we actually have 4 copies of this box. There's the box here, and then 1, 2, 3 other boxes. So 4 altogether, and we can put anything we want to in them. By default, this is the market movers, but let's say I want to make this the sector summary. There it is, it's the sector summary. Now, let's say I want to make this my, my market movers, and I want to make this the decision point signal box. So in this more drop down on each of these boxes, I can customize it and make any of these boxes, any of those things that I want. It'll automatically save it. They'll be there next time that I want to look at it. There's a lot of really interesting stuff here. I personally like to have the ticker cloud myself. The ticker cloud shows me symbols that are really popular on StockCharts right now. And maybe there's something in this list that I'm not aware of. So I'll, like SRNE, I'm not really sure what that is, but I can click on that symbol and find out. So anyway, the point is in these 4 boxes, we can put anything we want. You can put any of these different things in there, and it can be really, really nice. Similarly, once we have, say, the market movers in here, it doesn't have to be Dow Jones. It can be S&P 500. It can be whatever, and it doesn't have to be most active. It can be percent up, percent down, whatever. It's going to remember all this, so you can customize that to your heart's content. Now below that, we have chart lists, and right now I don't have any chart lists set up, so my default is empty. But when I create a chart list, let's say I create one with my portfolio, I'm going to be able to see that chart list right here. The list of ticker symbols that I care about will be right here. Similarly here with scans, if I have any of those saved, or alerts, if I have those saved. Down here, this is a way for me to see what's going on in the commentary areas without having to go to the commentary pages. We have the articles page, we have the StockCharts TV page, but if you click those boxes that I was showing you earlier, you can see them directly on the members dashboard. And then finally, here's a list of all my chart lists, which is currently none, but all of the chart lists that I create will be here. So that is a quick view of the dashboard. Let's go back now. I want to start talking about actual charts. Rachel, did we have any questions come in yet?
No, not right now.
Okay. Well, I know y'all are out there, so let us know if anything I went over was too confusing. The next thing we want to talk about is our main charting tool, which is called SharpCharts. So that lives on a different page. That's the page that most people spend a lot of time working with. So I want to explain that page to you. It's called the SharpCharts Workbench. Make sure you understand all the different parts of it. So again, SharpCharts is our premier charting tool. The charts themselves are sent out as images, which is nice because that means you can copy and paste them into Word documents or you can save them onto your file, onto your computer. They're just like pictures. There's no difference. Anything you do to a picture, you can do to one of our charts. And as I mentioned, they can be up to 2,500 pixels wide, and we'll make them as tall as they need to be. We also have a new tool called StockCharts ACP. I do a different show about that, part of my deep dive series, so watch for that if you want to learn more about ACP. Those are very, very interactive charts, and they're coming. It's still under development. SharpCharts are still our premier tool at this point. SharpCharts, before we get into how you create them, let me tell you what you're actually seeing when you look at a Sharp chart, because there are a couple of pieces of the puzzle that we want to make sure you're clear on. Let's see, I think, yeah. Okay, so the Sharp chart in the upper right corner always have what we call the main ticker symbol. And the main ticker symbol is the symbol that represents the chart. And it's the symbol that all the bars in the middle of the chart will be related to. So in this case, I'm looking at a chart of the Dow. All these bars are price bars for the Dow. And they are daily price bars. We can see here right next to the legend for $INDU, which is the symbol for the Dow. We see daily, and that means these are daily price bars. We can also kind of infer that from looking at the horizontal time axis. But the chart itself consists of a main price plot area, which all charts have. That's the place where these bars show up, as well as optional panels. The panels can be above, or in this case, as you see, we have one below the price plot area. Price plot area contains the bars. It also contains technical overlays. Overlays are technical indicators or lines that live on top of the bars. Whereas the price panels, the panels that are above and below the price plot area, contain technical indicators. And the key difference here is these indicators are on a different vertical scale than the price bars. Notice this is going between, I don't know, -300 and +400. If we tried to plot that on the same scale as the Dow, it wouldn't even show up because the Dow is way up here at 25,000. So this indicator needs to be plotted on a different scale, and that's why it lives in a different panel. So remember, technical overlays are the lines that live on top of the price bars, and they are on the same scale as the price bars. Technical indicators are things that have to live in a different panel because they're on a different scale. So that's a quick overview of Sharp charts. We've got legends over here showing you the colors and which indicator is which. In this case, this blue line is an EMA with a parameter of 200. We have the actual daily quote is up here on the right, including the daily change. We have little callouts here showing you what the actual final values for these bars are, so on and so forth. I think you can pretty much figure it out at this point. So now with that background, we can talk now about the workbench. In other words, the page on the site that you use to create and customize these charts. There is a part of the workbench that's above the chart. That's where you specify the main ticker symbol, for instance. and that's also where you save your charts. Then you have the chart itself, and then below that you have three important areas. You have the chart attributes area, you have the chart overlays area, and you have the chart indicators area. And I just told you the difference between those two. Chart attributes are settings associated with the entire chart, whereas chart overlays and indicators are what we just talked about. Now, there's also a feature that's very important. A lot of people ask about this. It's called auto refresh. So remember, these charts are created as pictures. They're created when you request them. When your browser asks for them, we immediately will create that chart and send it to you in real time using whatever data plan you currently have access to. Many people want to put up one chart and have that chart refreshed throughout the day. So they just want to keep the chart available up on their screen. Auto refresh is the setting that allows that to happen. It's an optional setting, and it's meant for people that want to have the chart up there and just refreshing in the background. They're not paying direct attention to it. They're not instantly focused on it or intensely focused on it at that moment. They just want to have the chart be up to date generally. So again, it's an optional setting. You can set it. If you're an extra member, you can have it refresh up to once every 15 seconds. And if you're a pro member, you can have it refresh up to once every 5 seconds. Now, but remember, you can always refresh the chart as frequently as you want simply by clicking the update button. There's a button right there that says update. You click on that, we will update the chart instantly. So you can, if you're intensely focused on a chart and you need to have it updating very, very frequently, you can click update, once every second or however frequently you want to update the chart. Auto refresh is kind of for keeping it up to date while you're not intensely focused on it. Hope that makes sense. So every time the chart's created, we create it with the most up-to-date data that's available as of the time that you are based on your data plan. And as I mentioned, 15 and 5 second options. I'll show you where this auto refresh setting is here in just a second. There's another thing I'm going to demo in my next demo. It's called the inspector. When you turn the inspector on, then as you move your mouse over the chart, little pop-up boxes will appear, and you can see the price bars as you move your mouse. You can click and drag to measure distances on the chart, so on and so forth. Very, very useful to give you interactive feedback on the chart. So let me quickly show you that demo, and then we'll come back to setting up chart attributes. So here I am back on my dashboard. How do I get to the workbench? There are a couple of ways. First off, I can click on any ticker symbol that I see pretty much anywhere on our website. When I click on a ticker symbol, that symbol, I will immediately go and see a sharp chart for that symbol. Alternately, as I mentioned before, I can type in a ticker symbol and press enter into the chart bar here at the very top. So there you go. This is the SharpCharts workbench. This is what it looks like. As I mentioned, one thing to note, we don't have any advertising. If you see advertising on this, again, you're not logged in. You need to log in to get rid of that advertising. But here's the chart. We've got the top area. We've got the chart that I mentioned. Below that, we have the chart attributes area. And then we have the overlays area and the indicators area. So let's go over each of those, starting with the top area. The top area is the place where we type the main ticker symbol. It's what I entered before, so it's IBM. I can change it here if I want to, but that's good for me. This is also where I set the period. The period is the time that each bar represents. I currently have a daily chart up here. I could take that down to a 1-minute chart, and we could see what IBM did over the past during the last hour or so of yesterday's trading. So on and so forth. I can make it a 1-hour chart, so on and so forth. Here is the auto refresh setting, and I can change it. As an extra member, I've got 15, 30, and 60-second options. If I was a pro member, I would also have a 5-second option. Now, right now, the market's closed, and so if I try to turn on auto refresh, it's going to immediately turn off. And again, that's because the market's closed. Once the market opens, this auto refresh thing will work. Next up was the inspector that I mentioned. So I can click on inspect, and now when I move my mouse over the chart, I get all of this additional information. And in addition, I can do something like I can click and move up from here to here, and I can see, for instance, that this was a 8% move. Yeah, roughly 8% move there. Over on the left is where I can see the values. 8.5 something is happening there on the left. I can also click and drag horizontally to measure distance in terms of the number of periods. So that's the inspector. It's really, really helpful. I think if I hold down Shift, I'm holding down Shift and I get rid of that additional box. If I just want to actually have thin little cursor, I can just hold down my Shift key to do that. All right, so that's the inspector. Now what we're going to talk about next is down here in the chart attributes area. These are the settings that apply to the chart as a whole. There's actually a duplication. We have the same period setting is available here, is up above. And notice I've got several update buttons. They all work the same. They're not different. It's just click whichever update button is closest, and that will lock in the settings and change the chart. So we're going to talk about range, or we talk about the range of the chart, which is where the chart starts and where it ends on a time scale. And then we're going to talk about some of the other types of charts and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go back to my slides, and then we'll come back to the live demo. So in my slides, again, chart attributes is the first thing we want to talk about. And in chart attributes, range is the important thing. It's range and chart type are the two real things you'll be changing the most in the chart attributes area. So when you're setting range, there's actually 3 different modes, maybe 4 different modes that you want to work in. And it kind of depends on how you're relating to the chart, how you're using the chart at the time. A lot of times what people want is they want to see the most up-to-date version of the chart. They want to see what is happening right now with this particular stock. And if that's where you're at right now, you want to create a chart with in that kind of mode, you're going to use a setting called fill the chart. The fill the chart setting, what happens is we draw the chart perfectly going from the right side of the chart backwards. So we make sure that the chart looks great. We make sure that the chart ends with the most up-to-date bar. We're not sure where the chart's going to start, however. Where the chart starts has to do with how many bars we can fit on it. And but most of the time people, when they're in this mode, they don't necessarily care when the chart starts. They're more focused on the right edge of the chart. And so they're okay with that. If, on the other hand, you are interested in seeing a specific amount of time on your chart, maybe it's an old chart or it's a chart where you're looking at a specific period like a year or 2 years or a month or something like that, then you won't be using fill the chart mode. Instead, you'll be selecting one of the durations that we have in our dropdown. In that case, what we'll do is we will fit all the bars you're asking for onto the chart, but we might have to scrunch some of them. If there's not enough room, some of those bars are going to have to be scrunched and they may not look perfect. Now, fill the chart, they'll all look perfect, but the start date is not guaranteed. When you specify duration, the start date is guaranteed and the end date is set, but we may have to scrunch some bars to get everything in. And then if the duration, like 1 year, isn't good enough for you, you actually want to specify a date to start the chart at and a date to end the chart at, then you can do that as well. We have a start and end option there with a special thing called a Ranger slider, which I'll demonstrate in a minute. All right, the other big thing in the chart attributes area is the type dropdown. I was showing you a chart that was a candlestick chart, but you can there are lots and lots of choices, and the chart type dropdown lets you change those choices. You've got bar charts, you've got candlestick charts, you've got, maybe my favorite is the Elder Impulse bars. I'll show you those in a second. They're very colorful. There are performance charts, there are line charts, there are area charts, lots and lots of different types. And the more esoteric types you can look up in chart school to get a definition of what those types are and what they look like and how they're calculated. Okay, let me go back to my demo. That's the main thing in chart attributes area. So first let me talk about what I just mentioned, all the different range settings. It's in this drop down here, range. What we're seeing right now on our chart is a fill the chart, meaning that it's showing me daily bars going back until some point in time. I don't really know when, but I don't care because I'm really focused over here. I can specify how wide each bar is. So if I want more, I can make them a little skinnier. I can specify whether there's a gap between each bar, each candle. And so here's where the setting is 4 with a gap of 1. or I can make it with 7 with a gap of 1. And so the starting date is changing as I make these changes, but the ending date isn't, and life is good in terms of looking at the right edge of that chart. Now, again, the next thing I could do is I could specify predefined ranges, like 1 year. So 1 year and press update, and boom, there's a year's worth of data on IBM. Notice, however, again, some of these bars have been scrunched. They're not really individually readable, but that's the trade-off. I could potentially make the chart wider. So right now my size is 700. I could make in order to compensate for these scrunch bars, I could make my chart wider. There we go. Now it's taken up the whole screen, and I can see the bars a little better, at least for 1 year. But I could also then go to 2 years, and now I'm back to scrunch data. So anyway, that's the whole thing, is you play with these settings until you get something that you like. The final thing was, yes, select start and end. So I'm going to actually shrink my size down again just to get everything back on the screen. And now what I can do, I want to show you this. When I've selected the start and end option, I can type in dates to the start box and the end box, or I can take this little slider and move it back and forth. This is what we call the Ranger slider, and it allows me to quickly just shift through different time zones or time spaces. And what's really nice, what I really like, is I can also just click on the little arrow here on the right, and then I'm advancing my chart 1 bar at a time when I do that. And that's really helpful when you want to learn or examine a price move. Okay. Now, there are other settings here. We've got color schemes. We've got other kinds of things. My favorite color scheme is Murphy, by the way. So there we go. We've got other different things. None of this can hurt you. I encourage you to experiment with all of these different settings, and I think you'll find a lot of them are really, really useful. So, any questions yet, Rachel?
Yes, we do have a question. Good. Ashok would like to know, how does he see his chart lists or his charts in other formats like John Murphy's or Tom Bowlby's?
Okay. So that has to do with something called ChartStyles. I'm going to get to that in just a second.
Okay.
There's a drop down right here that we're going to be talking about in a minute. I have to finish talking about all the different parts of the interface, and then I'll come back and talk about ChartStyles. So it's a great question. Just hang in there. We'll get there. Okay. And in that vein, let me press on. We've talked about chart attributes. The next thing I want to talk about is the overlays and indicator panels that are down below. The first thing I want to make sure everyone understands, if you're new especially, is these green triangles. Go ahead and click these green triangles to open up these additional settings. I think you should always probably have access to them. So I think it's okay to have those open all the time. Overlays, again, are the things that sit on top of the price bars, and you can see we have an awful lot of them, all the different kinds. Initially, you have slots for 3 different overlays, but notice as I add a third overlay, I'm going to add Bollinger Bands, and another slot pops up. You can have up to 25 different overlays on top of a chart. The parameters for the overlays are typically the number of periods that go into the calculation, but each overlay is different, and our chart school area will explain which overlay needs which parameters. There are style, color, and opacity options over here that you can play with. Once you have things the way you like it, just hit update. And now, for instance, boom, I've added Bollinger Bands, these green lines above and below to my chart. Similarly with indicators, they work pretty much the same way. The only thing that's interesting about indicators is they have an additional thing called position. And position has to do with where the indicator is located relative to the price plot area. So in this case, I have one indicator called the RSI located above. I have another indicator called the MACD located below. And we can see that here. RSI is above and MACD is below. If I want to change that, I can move the RSI below. I can move the MACD above, so on and so forth. I can add another indicator panel. Let's just go with a rune for now. And that's going to be below. I hit update. And there, MACD is above, RSI and a rune are below. So, and then if you want to get rid of an indicator, you just come up here and you select none. Same is true with the overlays. None, none. We have a lot of indicators. Hit update. And now I'm left with just just the Arun and a big mess. Oh, I promised to show you guys, sorry, I promised to show you guys the Elder Impulse system. So Alexander Elder put together a system, it's described in our chart school, where you see bars that are either red, blue, or green. Red is bad, blue is neutral, and green is good. And there are several different indicators that go into coloring, deciding what colors to use for those bars. And I encourage you to learn more about that in our chart school area. Let me do two other things, which is to get rid of that indicator, hit update. And now I'm ready to do one other thing that I want to do. I need to tell you guys about. This is super important. So let's say that this chart has the indicators and the settings and the size and the colors that I like the most. So in other words, whenever I'm going to look at a brand new ticker symbol that I've never looked at it before, I want to see it in this format. I want to see it with these settings. And the settings could be anything. Again, these are ones I picked kind of during the show, but the point is you would spend a little time and come up with the settings that you like. What's important here is once you get those settings where you like everything about it, and anytime you want a new chart, you want it to look like this, come over here just below the chart in this styles area is a link that says set as default. Click that link and then click OK. And what you've done there, what I just have done, is you have made these settings your default settings. So whenever I go to another page on StockCharts and I click on a ticker symbol, any of them, I now see a chart with those settings. I don't have to go back and recreate this chart all the time. And so that's really, really nice, very helpful, very powerful. And so that's the key, is making sure that you have a really good set of default settings. Let me go back to my slides. I'm going to cover this stuff again on the slides. As I mentioned, the overlays are there. Open up those green triangles. They use the position settings to move indicators around. We've talked about that. Saving a sharp chart. I'm going to demonstrate this in just a second. This is about when you create a chart and you want to save it into a chart list, the actual chart. You can do that by using the Save link located above the chart. I'll show you in a second. And then you'll select the chart list that you want to save stuff into. And then you should give the chart a unique name so that you can find it later. And remember, charts are stored in alphabetical order. So sometimes people put a little numeric code in front of the chart name so that they can then control the order of the charts that way by just renaming it. I'm going to talk about the annotation tool in a minute. What I'm trying to get to is, I thought I had a slide coming up about that, about the default settings. Yes, okay. I'm going to skip ahead to that. Here we go. This is a slide that I wanted to get to. We're going to come back to those other points in a second. The default chart style is what I just showed you. It's the most commonly used settings that you have for your charts. I think you should use fill the chart as the range setting for your default chart style. I think when you're looking at a new ticker symbol, you're very much interested in the most recent information about that stock. And so fill the chart is probably going to be the right setting for you. You want to choose the biggest size that your screen can support, I think. Big charts are great. And once you set it, you're going to click that Save as Default link. You might also want to save it as its own independent chart style. That's what this note is about. Okay, let me go back. I'm kind of skipping around a little bit, and also show you this Save feature. So right now, let's say that I've got this chart of Roku, and I'm very interested in monitoring it over time. I'm going to click Save As, and then here's the place where I can give it a name and where I can select a chart list to put it in. Right now, I only have one chart list. I haven't created any new ones. But if I had other ones, I could choose which one to put it in. So I just hit Add New, and now Roku is part of my chart list. Let me also type in a couple other ticker symbols. I'm going to type in IBM, Save As, Add New. I'm going to type in MSFT, Save As, New. And I'm basically just populating this chart list. And I could change the charts between this. The charts do not have to all be the same. In fact, let me just make one just so I can show you that has a different look to it. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to type in just another symbol and hit Save As. add new. And now I've saved several different charts into my default chart list. To look at that chart list, I can click on View All. It's right here. There's several other ways that I can look at it, but the easiest is just to click on View All. And now I'm seeing all the charts in that chart list on a single page. As I scroll down, we see the different charts that I have. The charts are in alphabetic order. I can add comments to each chart. I can rearrange the charts, or I can click on a chart and then I'm taken right back to the workbench so I can continue to work on this particular chart, maybe look at it a little differently. If I'm here in the workbench and I want to go through from chart to chart, I can do that in a couple ways. See the drop down up here? This also has all my charts, including there's the J&J chart with the different colors, IBM. I can use the arrows to step through my charts. Lots of different ways to view charts. Currently I'm using one list, but if I had more lists, they would be in this drop down. So that's basically how you work with your saved charts. The next thing that I needed to show you is how you annotate a chart. Annotations are when you draw or add text on top of your chart. So and this is very common. So here's something you might want to do. You use the link just below the chart called Annotate. That's going to pull up a tool that we call ChartNotes. Here we see ChartNotes running on my screen. And ChartNotes are these controls, these little text controls that you have up here, as well as different kinds of tools that you have down on the left side. Currently, I have a trend line tool selected with a color of blue and this width. What that means is I can now click and drag on the chart to draw trend lines, however I want to do them. And the nice thing is these trend lines, when I save this chart, these trend lines will be kept up to date for me automatically. Again, I can change colors. And trend lines are pretty simple. There's other things we can do. We can draw boxes. We can draw Fibonacci retracements, or something a lot of people really like. So I can click and drag to draw out the Fibonacci lines. By the way, pro tip, by default, the Fibonacci lines that appear will be the standard ones. But I can hold down the Control or Command key and draw again, and now I get the additional Fibonacci lines that a lot of people like. For more on Fibonacci, again, I refer you to our chart school. There's lots of other different kinds of tools that are available. I could spend a lot of time on this, and I do in my deep dives show, but I just wanted to give you a quick sense of this. I'll show you one more, one of my favorite ones. Maybe before I do that, I'll mention that if you want to delete annotations, you select them, and you have to press the delete key on your keyboard to delete an annotation. That's what I'm doing here to make these go away. I'm just clicking once and then hitting delete, and they go away. So the final tool, a little pro tip tool I want to share with you, is my auto support resistance tool. I love this tool. A lot of times after the stock breaks through a point of resistance, that point of resistance will turn into support. And so we can see that right here. This stock was trying to get up through this particular level, 142. It bounced back, and it tried again, and it broke through here. Yay. But then 142 on the way down turned into a support level. You see it bounced right off of that. In order to indicate support and resistance levels and effects like this auto support and resistance tool that we have is red when the prices are below it, and it's green when the prices are above it. So that can quickly show you kind of where support turns into resistance and resistance turns into support. All right, so that's what that line's all about. Once you have all of your annotations the way that you like, draw one more trend line here. Then when you close, you'll be offered the chance to save the changes. And that will either create a new chart in one of your chart lists, or if you're already editing an existing saved chart, you're just adding those saved changes to the chart, like I've done here. And so now those annotations are part of the chart. And when I see it in the workbench, I see the annotations. In addition, when I go back and look at my chart list in list mode or any mode, there we go. Here is that chart I was just annotating with all of those annotations in it. So that's really, really helpful. And so ChartNotes is a very useful way to add information to your thing. Here's my slide on ChartNotes and adding annotations. As I mentioned, hold down Control to get more options. Hold down to the delete key to remove annotations. Chart lists. I showed you a view of chart lists where you saw each chart in its own little area. That's called 10 per page view. You have up to 10 charts on a page, and then you go to the next page to see the next 10 charts. But you can also view chart lists in other views. We have many of them: summary view, chart book view, candle glance gallery, and edit view. Just really quickly, here is 10 per page view, as I was mentioning to you. This is what we looked at before, where you get to see each chart. And if there are more than 10, you go to the next page. But if you drop this down, we can see the same list in summary view, where the information is provided in table format. So instead of seeing the charts, we see the symbols and we see their recent statistics. There's also chart book view, which is kind of like one per page, where each chart is shown one at a time, and you click on the chart to go to the next one. Gallery view, candle glance view, RRG, seasonality, market carpet, correlation, and edit view are all also super cool. I will leave it up to you to explore those views. I encourage you to do so. You may find that several of them are very, very valuable to you. All right, but we're getting low on time, as always, because there's so much I want to show you guys. Another key thing I have to mention, we've seen this in action, but now I want to formally introduce you to ChartStyles. ChartStyles are templates for new charts. They contain all the settings about a chart except the ticker symbol. And so once you've saved something as a chart style, you can apply that style to any other ticker symbol very quickly and easily. And so what's common is for you to create maybe a style for looking at a daily chart, and maybe you have a different style for looking at a weekly chart, a different style for looking at a 1-minute chart, so on and so forth. You may also have a different style for stocks versus mutual funds. If you are using different indicators for something, that's the indication that you probably want a different style for that particular mode or that particular type of analysis that you're doing. We've gone over the default chart style. That's the one that's super valuable and super important because it's the starting point for any kind of analysis that you do. But having additional styles so that you can quickly switch to, again, maybe a 1-minute view would also be very, very helpful for you. I've talked about tips for the default chart styles. Let me quickly show you how to create other chart styles. So I'm going to go here back to let's see, go back to 10 per page, click here, and now I'm on the workbench for my IBM chart. So let's say I want to change this from a daily chart down to a 5-minute chart, hit update. And when it's in 5-minute mode, I don't want to use the Arun indicator. Instead, I would like to use, let's just go with the, I'm just picking one here, E is a movement indicator. So there we go. And instead of using the Elder Impulse system, I'm very much interested in candlesticks when I'm looking at 5-minute bars. So here's my 5-minute view. It's very, very different from my standard view. So I don't want to save it as default, but instead what I want to do is add it as a new chart style. So here in the chart style line, I'm going to do add new, and I'm going to say 5 minutes. And then below that, I don't know if you can see this, below that there's a drop down that says button, and I'm going to select 1, and I'm going to show you why in just a minute. I'm going to hit add, and so now I have a 5-minute chart style that I can quickly get to. I still have my default chart style, which I can go back to, and I have my 5-minute chart style that I can quickly switch to. So imagine that I also had other styles for weekly, monthly, so on and so forth. I'd be able to quickly move back and forth between them using this drop down. Now another thing, and to answer the question, I can now answer the question that came in. There are other predefined styles down here in this drop down. It's in addition to the ones you've created that are up here, these predefined ones will always be available, including one by John Murphy, including one by Tom Bowley, so on and so forth. So I encourage you to experiment with those as well. They may give you great ideas for things. All right, and so that's a lot about chart styles. You can also edit them and delete them and change them around using the controls that you see here on this line. But having a good set of chart styles that you can allows you to quickly move between things, very, very helpful.
Chip?
Yes.
We only have about 5 minutes left, so I just wanted to ask this one question. Sebastian asked, can you tell us again, how did you find the scroll bar to make appear the candles one by one?
Okay, very good question. Thank you for that one. Let's go back to that. That's our Ranger control, is what we call it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to change this into a daily chart just because it makes it easier to see. And when you go into the chart attributes area and you look at the range setting, remember there are essentially 3 categories of settings here. There's the fill the chart setting. There's the predefined range setting where you can specify months, days, and years, and any of these are just different examples of these predefined ranges. Or at the very bottom, we have select start/end. That's the one that you want. That's the one that's going to give you this additional Ranger control. So again, you can type in or even use a calendar pop-up to select the start date and the end date. Let's say you bought a stock on a particular day and you sold it on a particular day and you want a chart of that, you would use these calendars to set those up. On the other hand, if you're just kind of exploring the chart and you're kind of getting a sense of what the chart does, and maybe even doing what I was showing a minute ago, then you can use this slider. I'm just clicking and dragging on this big rectangle to move the slider back and forth. Or you can click on the little arrow. This is the actual answer to the question. And then you can move your chart ahead 1 period at a time by clicking this arrow here, or you can move it the other direction by clicking the arrow here. But what I love to do is maybe find a situation where a stock is about to reverse, and then kind of click the arrow through that reversal to see how the indicators behave during that reversal, one at a time. So that's really, really nice. Thanks for that question. Hope that helps. Again, it's just another feature of the range dropdown. All right. Let me see if there's anything else. Right. I wanted to talk 10 seconds, which is about all I have, for making sure you understand how to manage your account. I mentioned how to get to the Your Account page. It's on the dashboard. There's a Your Account link located just below your name on the left side of the screen. That allows you to change your password, obviously a very good idea. You can update your billing information. You can upgrade or downgrade your service plan. You can add or remove those real-time data plans that I mentioned. And you can also control the amount or stop us from sending some of the reminder emails that we send. So all of that is on the Your Account page. You definitely want to spend some time making sure those settings are correct. Now, if you need more help, there's a lot for me to do in an hour, and I did the best I could, but there's probably a lot more questions you have. Chart School is our online area. It's like the Wikipedia for technical analysis. I encourage you to spend a lot of time around in there. There's also a help link on our website in the upper part of every page that says help. You can click there, and there's a huge support area with lots of FAQs and other kinds of question and answer things that are there. And if for some reason you're completely stymied, the help link will also let you send in a question to our support team. And then finally, keep watching StockCharts TV. There's lots and lots of information that goes across there, and all of the shows are archived on YouTube, so you can always watch them later. So, wow, we covered a lot in this 1-hour episode. You actually now know all of these terms, believe it or not. Hopefully, if you paid attention and know these terms, you should be very proud of yourself, because we went through a lot. Last call for any questions. Okay.
No more questions.
We're good. Well, because we're almost out of time anyway. I did want to thank everybody for watching. Again, we work really hard here at StockCharts. We're really glad when we get new members in. I hope a lot of new members are out there right now watching. I hope you benefited from this show. Please take some time to experiment with your new account. You can't hurt yourself. Try all the different things I showed you. Try all the different things I didn't show you. Keep going with your technical analysis. Other shows will get you more into what is the market doing and how to interpret everything. But these were the mechanics of using the site. You really have to get that nailed before you get anything else done. And with that, I'm going to wrap up. Thanks again, everybody. I will see you next time.